Did you guys get a notification or anything about recording?
Not yet.
Normally it warns you.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
There it is. You started.
Oh, that's cool. That's
yeah.
cool.
Usually it warns you, and there. So okay, good. So we're recording. So then I will. What I'll do is I'll put it as a link on YouTube, and that way you can go back and watch it if you want.
Oh, that'll be nice. Thanks. And it's now morning on your side of the world, huh?
Yeah,
10 a.m.
No. For me, this is the lazy time of the week. You know, late Friday afternoon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
we're coming
thank
up on
you.
our holidays. Sorry.
Pardon?
We're coming up on a holiday weekend, so it's even worse. Like everybody's taking off at noon on Friday because Monday's off. So it's a 4-day weekend.
Oh, that's
or
cool.
3-day week. I'm sorry.
So thank you so much for the documents that you've already sent. It's a lot of information that you've already given, and I like your writing style. I like the personal touch to it, which is really nice. Are you okay? I thought you dropped off.
Yeah, my monitor is sitting on top of a stack of books, and it decided it was going to topple over there, but I caught it in time, so we're good.
Okay, cool. So let me can I just talk about why the book, just
Sure.
to create a bit of context. So you know Stefan. You both must know Stefan, okay? So
Yeah.
so Stefan and myself, I've been volunteering for Stefan and Heidi now for just more than 2 years, and we get to know each other. You know, after a while, if you spend enough nights up waiting for runners to come in, you know, then you sort of gel after a while. So
Yeah.
it wasn't so long ago. It was about, I guess, about a month. It feels longer. Maybe 2 months ago, that we sat around the fire late at night, and it was cold, and we sat around the fire and waiting for the guys to come in, and we were chatting about how COVID reduced the numbers of athletes on adventure racing. Now, for me, the more people, the more fun. You know, you want to meet the people and you want to experience it. The more people you actually experience more. So I looked at that, and Stefan says, "Oh, you know what, COVID's bad," and you basically have to reintroduce, because a lot of people stopped racing during COVID, which doesn't make logical sense to me, because out there you are safer than you are within people or between people.
Yes.
But so we came up. So I said, no, you know what? We in our country we have to rebuild the community. It's not as if it is gone. You know, it's just reduced. You can see that people are still a bit scared, and the numbers reduced. But it is picking up. It is picking up. But you know what? At the end of the day, we said, right, so what can be done in order to, why is it that people don't just rush back? Because, you know, so which is what I expected people to do, you know, and the problem is that a lot of people dropped out of adventure racing. Which is strange to me, because just yesterday I was doing the research on one of the chapters in the book, is to say, if you introduce adventure racing to somebody that never heard of it before, myself, I've never heard of it before until 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of it. I've never known that people do those extreme things with their bodies, and I absolutely admire anybody that even just talks about those 500-kilometer thingies, and you do it with your body. Cannot imagine you do it with your own body. Yeah. in order to do that. So the objective of the book, after a long story, is the objective of the book is to try and introduce adventure racing as an awesome sport to the youngsters, to the people that are doing athletic type of things, that are reasonably fit, but they miss the experiences in life. I like traveling. And the reason why I like traveling is because of the experiences, because of the different cultures, because of the absolutely different awesome natures that you experience in different countries. And that is the one thing which I'm trying to convey to my friends and families, and that is included in the package when you're doing AR. So for me, there are so many benefits to it. I say, right, so can I write a book? Yes, I can write a book. I've done before. I've done 3 books so far. Can we use it in order to introduce AR to more athletes so that the word of mouth will spread and more people will try it, even if they just try it once? That is the objective. So I'm writing it as a motivational book. It has got aspects in it. If you look at the content on a high level, you'll see, okay, I've got a motivational intro. I say this is what adventure racing is, and then we go into say, right, so what do you need in order to start? Where are races? So I've got races from all over the world listed in order to entice people to say this is not just something that exists only locally on a weekend. It is big. It's just not big enough here. And then obviously the one section is then about learning from the legends. If they can learn those lessons or get bitten by the excitement, the same excitement that made you do it, if they can try, I'm trying to convey this in the book so that they can get excited about adventure racing even before they've tried it. It is to encourage them to try at least once. So that's why I've done. And so far I'm about 3/4 through with the book. I've got some awesome input so far. I've got guys from France, New Zealand, Australia, about 6 or 7 countries so far that gave input, and it is absolutely awesome because it gives credibility to the sport. And that is really awesome, and that's why I really appreciate your input and your personal touch to it.
Cool.
Yeah,
it sounds like a fun project.
Yeah, your goals are our goals too, getting more people involved and having more people know what it is, because here as well in the US, there's not that many people that know about it. And the racers are usually a little bit older. So it'd be really nice to get younger people coming in, and also people finding out that it's really attainable. Like it sounds like, no, I couldn't possibly do that. Like I thought that when I started, but then, as you get into it, you realize, oh, a little bit more. And here we are, we're doing a 6-day race in Africa. Like that didn't happen overnight, but it's possible for just about anybody, given the right amount of training, unfortunately, the right amount of resources too. So anyway, I'm so excited that you're doing that. I can't wait to read the book.
Yeah, and I must say that I've been now at it about 6 weeks, and I'm getting in trouble with my family because I work through nights. But I'm excited about it, and it's making good progress. If I look at the timing, I should be. I've got about another 6 or 7 interviews to do. There's a few people that I'm battling to get hold of, and I really would like to have their input. So I'll give it a few weeks in order to make sure that we've got them on board, and then I should be able to have the text bedded down by the end of July. And then it needs to go for editing and book design and the book cover design and all kind of stuff like that. So I hope to have it printed around about November, December.
Great.
That's a rough timeline I've got in mind.
In time for Christmas.
Yeah, true. So
one thing I definitely would recommend, because you're talking a little bit about the inspirational aspect of it, and I think it was like I was kind of, as I was doing my questions, I think one of the last ones, like what what inspirational stuff, and hopefully you've probably picked up on this, but the one thing that is becoming more profound for me as a racer is you got the races in your backyard, so it's
You're
125
cutting up,
whatever, and then the big one.
Chip.
Huh?
You're cutting up
Yeah.
for some reason. I wonder if you want to come in. You're frozen.
I'll tell
you guys look great. Any better? Am I still frozen?
Now you're moving.
You're
slowly.
kind of pixelated.
I'll tell you what, I'll put off my camera, then maybe I can still see you if you don't mind, and then maybe your sound will be better. Okay. Try now.
Better. Yeah, I'm outside in my office van, but I can come in if it. Andrew, just tell me if it's still breaking up, and I'll come in if it is.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, you're still pixelated, so I think the problem's not solved, but we'll see.
The audio is fine though.
Yes.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess what I was getting at what I found out in racing I don't think it gets talked about enough, is that it's one thing to do the short races, let's say anything under 24 hours, one day where you're out there for 6 or 8 or 12 hours. And you get done and you high five your teammates and all of that, but it's a very, very different sport than, let's say, once you get past about 3 days, like 3 nights, 4 days, kind of. It emotionally, it seems like the effort that your body is putting out, your brain ends up having higher highs and lower lows. So colors are more vibrant, smells are more vibrant. When something happy happens, you're happier, and when something bad happens, it's worse. The volatility increases, and so what I found when you make it to a finish line, like this was Africa the previous year, 2019, like you put these big goals on the calendar, like we're gonna fly 3,000 miles to the other side of the world with 300 pounds of equipment. We raced with 2 people we didn't know. These are 2 South Africans. They didn't know each other. So, the fact that we crossed that finish line after 6 days or 5.5 days, that feeling you can't get. I have not felt it in anything that's like a 24-hour race, a 48-hour race. You just can't get it. We raced with a lot of military folks, and they said it's pretty consistent. The feeling you get when you've been to battle and you're in a foreign country, you're getting shot at, you're sleeping on the ground, that emotional bond that gets created between our war fighters, when they get back into society, they miss it. You hear about people in World War II, like they get back and they had depression. They want to go back even though they're getting shot at and seeing their friends get blown up. I think adventure racing is a way that those of us that don't want to fight wars and be violent, we can get to that same emotional connection, that same vibrancy of life. And I keep saying in my interviews that adventure racing is where I feel most alive. Like that feeling when during the race, leading up to the race, the after party, I just can't get that. And Andrea and I both, when we got back from Africa this year, for like a week, we were in depression. Like I just felt like a funk, like dark clouds around. Like I want to get back to it where I feel alive again. And of course, it wears off, and then you go back to work and you answer your emails and all of that. So hopefully, you're able to capture some of that in your book. That it's not just the fact that adventure racing is kind of cool and we want to get them back to racing, but I would really like more people to experience their best self. And the only way to do that is to achieve really big goals that are hard with a team over a long period of time, right? Whether, it's climbing Mount Everest or whatever. I just wish more people had that component in their life, because I think the day-to-day is mundane, and I think they're missing out on being your best self.
Yeah, and I get it, and I'll tell you why. The first person that I've interviewed was Heidi, and I've asked her, I mean, how did she experience it? Because I just experienced her as a race director, but prior to that, she was doing lots of racing, and she's saying that her goal now is to try and get as many people as possible to that point of tiredness and that point of really being empty, because it is only at that point that you would have that gap in your mind in order to, as she puts it, be close to God, because that connection can only be made if you have given all that you've got, and some people experience it differently, but it is a learning process that you learn from yourself, and you learn to accept your abilities, that you've got more than you ever thought that you've got, and then also that focusedness in life. So I get what you're saying, and it's very difficult to put it in words, but I'm going to try. I'm going to really try and convey that message.
Cool.
There was one thing, Andrea, in the notes that you sent me, there was one thing that you said, why accessibility, why the team name, and I was seeking for the answer in yours also, Chip, and it's not there, and my gut tells me that there's a story that is in none of those documents.
Yeah. I tried to focus on your questions specifically, and so since you didn't ask, I didn't say, but I should have said, and Andrea is way better at it than I am.
Oh, so you want me to go?
Yeah, why don't you go?
Well, I'm not sure what I said in my answers because I wrote them a few weeks ago. But yeah, I have a son with Down syndrome, and Chip owns a company who supports people with developmental disabilities. And I work for his company. So we have a strong belief that if you focus on what people can do, that's the best way to achieve success. And that's definitely true for my son. And I think for anyone. So like I said, we try to focus on the positive, and we hope that it spreads some awareness as well, just with the team name being a play on the word disability. If you focus on this ability, that's the best way to treat people. And it's the best way to achieve your own success, is to look at what you can do. So I don't know. Did I cover that, Chip?
Pretty much. I guess again, Andrea's son is a really good example. But for the layman, a lot of times I use cerebral palsy as the example. So if somebody comes to us with cerebral palsy and they're in a wheelchair, a typical company or a typical mindset looks at that person and says, okay, they're disabled. Maybe they need help eating. Maybe they need help with medications or getting a bath or transportation. And so they focus on the disability, and the person can be kept alive and everything's okay if you just do that. But the problem is somebody with cerebral palsy, their brain is perfect. They probably are smarter than you are. They want to be writing books. They want to be studying history. And so a company like mine, we train our staff, don't just focus on the disability, also focus on the ability. What are their interests? What are their goals? How do they want to live their best life? Yes, we still got to help them in the shower or whatever, but let's make sure if that person wants to write a book, then let's focus on helping them write their book and be their best self. So that's another way of putting it. The primary focus should be this ability. Like, what can they do? Let's help them get to that, and we'll address the other stuff as well. But the focus is the can. So for me personally, I'll give you a more personal example. I was a super competitive skateboarder for a really long time. And then kind of skateboarding went away, and then I became a competitive wakeboarder, right? Where I'm jumping behind boats and doing flips and spins and all that. And then my knee started giving out, and I'm like, okay, my wakeboard career's over. I can't do that anymore. And so I kind of blended into adventure racing. And so I look at it like, I can't be a pro skateboarder. I can't be a good wakeboarder anymore. I can right now do adventure racing, and I'm doing it I'm going to do it till my body's so broken I've got to do something else. So I don't know. It's just kind of a mindset that we have. So that's why you probably see our shirts are, they've got this ability, and this is not capitalized, and the ability is capitalized. So we kind of put a lot of thought into it. So I think Heidi says it's a team. It's a team with a cause, I guess, is what she said.
Yeah.
Like, some teams are aiming for the podium. We're kind of spreading the word about a positive outlook on life and a way to approach problems and a way to best support people. And they don't have to have an intellectual or developmental disability. It could be your kids. Don't focus on the negative, focus on the positive. So that's kind of the big story behind it.
So let me give you one other example. So I did not know how to swim most of my life. And I have a son with Down syndrome who loves the water. And he's not afraid of anything. And he pretty much showed me that there's no reason to be afraid of the water. And so then, I guess I was about 40, 42 and decided I want to scuba dive. So I'm like, well, there's no reason I can't swim, except that I'm just telling myself that I can't. So I learned how to swim and how I can scuba dive. And, the race we did in Rodrigues required swimming. And it really just took me focusing on what I can do and seeing someone else who, kind of ignores the boundaries that that society has for you. Like my son, he it's just one thing he's really good at. He loves the water. I've never had to worry about if he's going to sink. He's just a natural. So it's one of his kind of super abilities. And one other thing that I want to clarify is that we are kind of a team for a cause, but we're not raising money. So we're not a nonprofit. Chip does own the company, but it's not a nonprofit. So I just wanted that to be clear, that we're more interested in spreading awareness than we are in raising money. So
Okay, I understand.
That's just a technical side point.
And it was going to be one of my questions.
Okay, good.
I'm glad that she clarified that. But the other thing that's very, very different when somebody joins our team, inevitably, it seems like this happens all the time. They come out the other end saying, the way you guys think and operate are completely different than every other team I've been on. And we've had some like Rachel Nolan, who came, she's from Ireland, right? So we're truly an international team. Like, we raced with these two, they're South Africans. We've raced with somebody from Ecuador. We've raced with, from Ireland. It's just fun. But she's raced on a ton of different teams, and she got out the other end and was like, by far, you guys we're the best that we've been on. And it's not because we're fast or trying to go for the podium. It's just I think the way we communicate and the way we stay positive and we really focus on the abilities and help each other out when they're having a problem. It seems like everybody we race with are like, that was amazing, I want to race with you guys again. So I think the mindset and the way we view the world is important.
Then how would you define, so here's my question. When I picture you in a chapter that says learning from the legends, and for me, if you can do that 500K thing, you're a legend by any means. Okay. So if you when I picture you, I try to give a bit of how I experience you, and then the next section is around what are your achievements, and that is to give credibility to everything that you say after that.
Right.
Then I think we need to be very careful on how do we depict your achievements, because it must be greater than, oh, I've done 6 world championships, because you actually achieve much more than in every race than simply getting to the finish line.
Right.
Yes.
Any great ideas on how we can do that?
Well, I think if you spend a little time, explaining that it's not really the placement that you come in, your first, second, third, you're on the podium. Yes, that makes you like pretty amazing. Like we never make the podium one of our goals for a race, but we do hope to grow as a person. And I think for my own journey, I've just gained a lot of confidence. Like I just think back to my first couple of races, even the first one we did as a couple, just a twosome in Belize. That was in 2018. And we just were so green. So many things scared me. Like, I just couldn't believe that we were doing what we were doing. And now, 8 or 9 multi-day races later, I have the confidence to do that. And it bleeds over into our regular lives. So, it's, and maybe this is not what you're looking for, but as a parent of a child with special needs, I've had to do a lot of advocating. So I've had to stand up for things for him that have been hard for me to do. And honestly, having the confidence of the harder things I've done in races and just putting myself in uncomfortable situations, it's a lot easier for me to do that on behalf of my son. Like, oh, well, this is not as hard as that. And all I have to do is, go into this meeting and represent him well. And, I really feel like adventure racing has helped me do that. And probably vice versa too. Like probably the struggles I've had advocating for him and really being a parent, period. I have 2 other children as well. I have 2 daughters. It just gives me a level of confidence that I don't think you get. Well, maybe some people get in other ways. Maybe some people are born with that, but I certainly wasn't. And so, like I said, focusing on, what you get out of it besides the ranking in the race that you've done is, I think that would be good.
And I agree with you. I mean, some people saying they're a businessman, and they're saying that they are, since doing multiple day racing, they find that they can focus on the things that really matters. The things that are baggage, sort of, you identify them and they fall away. You don't waste the energy on that, because you came to a point where you are able to recognize what is important and what is baggage. And that is both in a personal life as well as in business or leadership or different aspects of that. And I can understand that this must have made a huge difference for you.
Yeah, you're saying it so well. I really think you're going to get it spot on in your book.
Yeah, let's try. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and write it. And I mean, I'm talking about 2 or 3 paragraphs of words that's probably gonna take me a week to write because I want to be careful with it. And then, if you don't mind, I'll send it to you. If you can see, maybe there's a word or two that you can enhance, so that'll be cool. Is
That'd
that
be
okay?
I guess I'll try to chime in on that. And for a minute, a couple times the audio went out. So again, let me know if it stops so I want to make sure you capture it. We're definitely not the team that you're going to see, these are all of our podium finishes, right? Talk to Nathan Fave, or Grant from Merrill, or one of those that do that. When we go into a race, and I'm going back to why are we legendary, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready in 2 days to turn 49 or 48. No, 49. She's a little older than I am. So
I'll be 50 this summer.
I feel she'll be 50. Yeah. So when I compare myself to like my dad, like, or the average 50-year-old, they're not doing this stuff. I mean, so if I was in my 30s, I would say, okay, I'm legendary for the podium. I guess when I'm looking at it, when I think the reason we're legendary is like the biggest comment I get is people live their lives vicariously through us. So many people, and I guess adventure racing has become a lifestyle for us. So my office, and I'm inside a cargo van right now. I've got 2 monitors, I've got a bed, I've got a cooler. Andrea and I, the minute her kids go over to Dad's house, we're jumping in the van and go somewhere to go ring. So it's not just about the racing. It's like a complete lifestyle of exploring and pushing ourselves physically, and it's like everywhere we go, we're adventure racing. We're carrying our adventure race packs. We still have the first aid kit, everything with us on every single workout that we do. And what that does is that helps us so that our 50-year-old butts can get across the finish line after 6 days, because it's not novel for us. It's the way we live our life day to day. We don't have to train up for a race. We live a constant training. At any moment, you can say, Chip, let's go do a 3-day race. And I'm like, let's do it. So I think that's one thing that's a little different about us. We ourselves. We want to be the best. We want our team to do the best that our team can do. I don't care about who's in front of us or who's behind us. If we have a problem mid-race, like we had a couple problems mid-race in Africa this year, we address it and we say, okay, if a race is over, it's okay, but let's really think through this, sort this out, and let's keep trying and not give up until we have to. And if you don't give up, you usually eventually get across the finish line. And so the other thing that you're going to notice that's very, very different about our team than every other team, we put ourselves out there. Like, we video like every race we do. We put together a GoPro, we put music to it, we talk to the camera. A lot of race videos, you just see the clips of people running and biking and paddling. We're talking to the camera as if we're documenting the experience so that other teams, other racers, they're not as intimidated by it. We like, I've had so many people. We have a race here in our country that goes across Florida. It's called the Sea to Sea, because there's the Gulf of Mexico and then there's the Atlantic Ocean. And every year you start on one side of Florida and you go to the other side. Inevitably, when I show up there, of course, we're wearing the shirts that everybody recognizes. Like every other person watches, said, Chip, I have watched all your videos. We used it to train for this race. Thank you so much for putting it out there. And all of that. So if we're legendary, it's because we have more social media content, training racers and explaining the experience from a mid-pack perspective, not the podium. We're just adults just trying to live the best life we can with our old bodies. So I think you'll see that. Like, I've had multiple people. We did one video called The Journey to the Wadasenshi Finish Line. We basically documented our entire experience from we're thinking about doing this race to building a team. We interviewed the team, our training, our nutrition. Then we got to Ecuador, and then we did the race, and we had all kinds of drama because one of our teammates got hurt. And then we did kind of an after action report to say, here's what went right, what went wrong, what I would have done differently. And so many people were like, that was ballsy to to do that. You're basically saying, I'm going to climb Mount Everest and I'm going to document every second of my experience, whether I make it or not.
Yeah.
So that you're not going to see that on any other team, I don't think. Especially one that does the big international races, where there's only a handful of teams in the United States that are doing international races. And Andrew and I were talking about this morning, like we can only count 5 or 6 of them. And of course we're friends with them. So that's the other thing, just any of the teams you're interviewing, if they're going around the world and doing races in lots of different countries, that's legendary. That takes confidence, it takes training, it takes research just to get a team to the finish, to the start line. Our team is international. So for Ecuador, I got Lewis lives in Pennsylvania. Caitlin is down in Alabama. And I got to figure out, how do we get all of us to Paraguay with our gear, cars and Airbnbs and all of that, the right training and everything to get to that start line, healthy, trained, our systems and processes on things like nutrition are dialed in so that we can get to the finish line. It's just, it's a lot. Like, it's not just the 500K. It's like the whole package that's difficult.
Why do you think
that was a long answer?
No, got you. So why do you think that people in your country, there are so few of them that travel overseas? I'll tell you why I'm asking that one. Every person that I talk to, one of their goals and dreams, I want to travel the world and I want to go and see every country.
That's a good question, because Chip and I are not the norm for Americans. I do think a lot of people here just they don't aspire to go see the world for some reason. They already think everything they need is right here. I think too, some people find it intimidating. My sister, for instance, has never left the country. No, she's left the country one time to Canada, driving just a short bit to Quebec. So, and she has no desire to. She doesn't have a desire to move away from our home state either. So, and I did that, days after graduating from college. I was, moved to a different state and couldn't wait to see the world. So, I really don't know the answer. Do you, Chip? You're frozen, but I assume you can hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you. Is my audio coming through?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want anything negative in your book about Americans, so I'm probably going to hold back my real opinion. But kind of like Andrea said, I think, well, no, I will say some stuff. I always grew up thinking, America's the best country, right? That's what we're taught, what we're told. We're the world's biggest power. We're the world's reserve currency and all of that. My first trip to Belize right out of college, and I was sitting at a bar with no Americans, but people from around. And that was the first time I realized like how other people in other countries view Americans. And I was like, okay, this is different. They don't, it's like we're the big dumb kid with the big stick. Yes, we're the biggest and the meanest, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're the smartest. And so that began my world travel. And now that we've traveled many countries, not just adventure racing, but doing other stuff, it just gives you a different perspective. And I honestly wish every citizen of every country could get out and not just go to a different country, but go to a different culture that's very, very different, right?
Yeah.
Go to Thailand or I went to Vietnam with my dad and it was absolutely amazing. So,
Sure.
and that was the first time I learned that a communist country can be way more capitalistic than a capital country like America. I was like, Vietnam is where I want to go start a business. Like, that place is awesome. Meanwhile, here in the States, I don't want to do anything because it's more moving towards more socialist and communist. Okay, so let's get back to racing.
Okay.
Most people who are going to take a trip outside the country, let's say we're going to go skiing in the Alps.
Yeah.
It's a little scary, right? To go, you got to get the airplane, the hotels. You got to say, where are we going to get our lift tickets and how much are we going to ski? Where are we going to go to eat? And everything is scripted. That's scary for most people, especially if they're not a world traveler. Now you get adventure racing. They say, well, where is your race? Like, we know. Like, what do you mean you don't know? Well, at 3 a.m., we're going to get on a bus and they're going to hand us maps and they're going to drive us to the start line. But no, we have no idea where we're going for 6 days. It's a secret. So imagine that. You're going to not only go to a foreign country, you might be going with people you don't know, your team, and then you're not even going to be told where you're going. And then they give you these maps at the last minute and say, go. It just, the amount mental toughness it takes to tolerate that level of uncertainty, such a dangerous environment. I mean, Lesotho was like, if we had an injury that was serious, a broken leg, I mean, you're going to sit there with your broken leg for 9 hours while some guy with a 4-wheel drive truck comes and puts you in the back. Here we got 911. I dial 911 within 6 minutes. I have cops all around me, ambulances, and a helicopter if they need it, with a hospital right down the road that Andrea drives to and makes sure I'm okay. So I think that might be the big difference is international travel scary, and then to do it with that much uncertainty, I think it's just terrifying. And then the last part, Americans are known for big houses, big cars, yards, dogs, 2 kids. They volunteer at their local church. Maybe they do soccer coaching. To go away for 3 weeks to Africa to do because a 6-day race is while you're racing. You got to get there a few days ahead of time. You got to leave a few days after that. You're doing the after party. And then it's smart if you get there a little early to see the country and do a little bit of tourism before the race, right? Most people aren't going to take 2 to 3 weeks out of their life to do something that is so uncertain and so hard. So I think that'd be one more answer.
So I want to add to that just because I'm not sure it's clear. But Chip and I are partners. He's my boyfriend. We're significant others. We don't really have a great word for it, but we're partners. And so a lot of people probably wouldn't take such a long vacation without their family, or they have a problem balancing, I'm going to this place, but whatever. And the only other thing I was thinking is that for Americans to travel internationally, it's harder. We're further away from other countries. It's not like you're in the middle of Europe and you can just drive a few hours to the next country. So we're a little bit farther away. And yeah, that's all I was going to say, that, having a partner that races, that's really great for us, that our team has been pretty solid just because Chip and I are usually always on the team together. So that's half the team right there. So anyway, that's it.
No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense to me.
The other thing, both Andrea and I can navigate, but I'm typically the navigator. So that's the other thing. If you have a confident navigator, that's the one component of expedition racing that must be solid, right? It doesn't matter if you are and all. If you don't have a navigator, you shouldn't do the race. And so the fact that Andrea and I are a couple, we're like the core team, and we're able to both navigate. Anybody we invite to get on the team, they just need to keep up. They need to be able to bike and run and paddle. But we've got the core part of the team. They don't need to come with any. Andrea and I can do the alone if we want, right? The other teammates are because we just want to have more teammates and it's more fun. So some teams may not have that. They may have the money and the time and the desire to do one of these races, but they can't find a navigator. So they're dead in the water. So that's kind of the other cool part, is that we're the complete package. So we can go race anywhere in the world that we want, as long as she can give her kids over to daddy and we can leave,
No, it's kind of funny though. I can't wait to tell my kids that I'm legendary, because they will laugh and they'll think, you?
But you know what? That's an interesting one, because you were talking earlier about just after the race that you go through a stage of depression nearly, because the euphoria sort of tapers down. So in one of the interviews that I had, Kip says that the reason why she goes into that a lot after a big race is because she cannot explain to her family and her friends what she really achieved. They cannot fathom anybody wanting to do that. Never mind explaining the real, I don't want to say gore, the real hardship of it, and that she got through that and that she made it. And that is the difficult one, because if you look at it, you are actually in the ideal position to encourage people that hasn't done a long race before to come with you, because you can do all the organization, you can do the navigation, you take all the risk out of it. All they have to do is race.
Yes, that's a very good way to put it. Yeah.
And I don't think there's a lot of. I think you must be a team in demand for people to want to race with you, especially people that does the long races for the first time.
Yeah, we've had people reach out. Actually, believe it or not, this race coming up, we're doing a 5-day race, and I think it's 3 weeks from now. Or Andrea couldn't do this one. And I've got two new teammates. One guy is brand new to adventure racing, although he did just do the one in Croatia. And then the other fella, his team fell apart, and he just reached out on Facebook and said, "Hey, Kevin." And so I'll be racing with two people I've never really raced with for 5 days, which is, it's dangerous. Most people don't want to do that, but we've done enough Zoom and chatting, and we did get to race side by side with them a couple times. So I'm confident. But yeah, you're right. We are that team that people reach out to say, "I'd love to race with you guys someday."
That's cool. That's cool. That's really cool. I've got two more things, and I think I may be close to the end of my hour that I begged for you, but I've got two more things that I want to touch on. The one is, do you have some nice pictures? I mean, you've raced so many times. You must have real nice. Let me tell you. So I interview a lot of people, and the first picture is the start. The team at the start. They are clean. They've got some gear. They're smiling broadly. It's a professional type of. But I would love to have some action pics. Do you have some action pics?
I will have to look through. We probably do, but oh, sorry, Chip.
We do. We would have to. Most of any of the action pics are probably taken by the professional photographers hired by the race director, right? So we would just need to make sure we give them credit, whatever. That's going to make bad pictures, because we're not allowed to have a cell phone. We have a GoPro, so we video a lot of stuff, but we don't have action pictures that we took, because we're in the middle of the race. But we definitely have like that, like pictures like that of getting across the finish line or during the race. The good news is with Heidi and they had a lot of photos there, so I'm pretty sure we've got. And Andrea, you probably remember we had quite a few photos that were taken in Africa, right?
This last race or Rodrigues or both? I think we have
either one, because since it's a book based out of Africa, it makes sense. Let's use the action shots from Rodrigues and Lesotho.
Yeah, one of the pictures that comes to mind is well, I'll have to look. It was while we were sailing in Rodrigues.
Yes. That was amazing. Okay, we definitely can get you some photos, and I don't think it'll be a hard. Heidi and Stefan have all the contacts, so you have the ability to use the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Heidi already gave me authorization to use any of the pics that she paid for. So basically, any of her races, any of the official photos, there are sometimes pics that are taken by volunteers or friends and family, and obviously I have to get authorization for those ones. But the ones Heidi take, yes, I've got authorization for them. The problem is she's got 1 million. And for me to say, go and look for a pic of Chip on a boat, it's going to be a bit tough. So if you've got access to it, that'll be cool.
Yeah, we'll dig through and find them. Yep.
Right. So my last question to you is, we've got a common goal. We all want to encourage youngsters to join the sport. Now I've got the support in South Africa that both Heidi and Jolene and Tinus will market the book as part of their effort in order to grow their businesses as well. And that was the objective of the book in the first place anyway. Do you think that there is a possibility that we can get the book distributed in your country?
To my knowledge, there's not been a book like what you're writing. So I think there's possibly a demand for it. When it comes down to, how do we import it and all of that? I don't know. I think probably the better way to, just because you know how the countries are and taxes and all that.
Yeah.
Probably the better way to do it is actually have it printed here and distributed as if it's an American book, and you own it, right? Something like that, where you're not actually printing the books in South Africa and shipping them here in hard form. I just don't know a lot about the publishing industry, but I do have a friend that is in the publishing industry, and I think I'm actually on a call later today. So I have, being an entrepreneur, I have a group of entrepreneurs that I am very friendly with, and so I can reach out and say, hey, we've got this problem. If we want this South African book to be in every bookstore in America, how would we do it, and what would the cost be? So I'll dig around and ask some people. What I may do is connect them to you, because you've written books before, the industry on your side. I can at least make the connection.
I would appreciate.
But yeah, my guess is it's easier. Start a little LLC that's just for that book here in the States, and have it based out of all the games to play, so that the back office burden and taxes and regulation is as least as possible. There's got to be a way. I think there's a demand, because adventure racing, we've got a bunch of adventure racers in the United States, and so I think there'd be a demand for it.
I wonder who published Squiggly Lines, Mark Latanzi's book.
Yeah.
Like, there might be particular publishing companies that we could let you know about of the books that we have. I was just looking up getfitnow.com is the ones who did the complete guide to adventure racing, and that's back to the 90s or 2000s. It's not very new anymore, but I just looked, they're still creating books, so we can send you a couple of leads, hopefully. I know nothing about it either. I know nothing about the publishing industry.
I know how to do it locally. Yes.
So I guess it also depends on your goals. If what you want is the book, or our goals. There's two main things. We want to get it in front of new people, right? Especially, it'd be nice for the younger crowd, so that the guy at the local college, starts adventure racing. So there's the masses, which I guess that's just get it to a bookstore or that type of thing, or at least on Amazon, right? And then the second part is to get it in front of adventure racers. The people who are, you're most, like, if you're looking at book sales, like how we want to sell more of the books, then obviously getting them in front of adventure racers. Hey, let me turn this off. Sorry, I didn't realize my phone was going to ring. So to get it in front of adventure racers, which are the people most likely to consume the content, especially the racer that's done a 12-hour race that wants to learn more about doing a multi-day. I think that's your real target audience. They're going to consume every word on every page and really get it. So in book publishing, my understanding is you either go through a publisher, they're going to take a big cut. Like, let's say you put it on Amazon, you're going to get $1 per book when you're selling the book for $25. But if we, meaning you, have a website or something where it's like you can sell the book direct, then we go on the Adventure Racing discussion group and say, if you're in the United States, go to my website and buy the book. You get 100% of the cost, minus the cost of the book and the cost of the shipping. You just have to have somebody here locally in the United States that can ship it, because obviously shipping from there to here is not going to work. You need a shipper here in the States that has a inventory of books that can put it in the mail and send it. And you can have it on Amazon and get $1 per book, and you can put it on your own personal website here in the States and have somebody mailing them out. And now you get to keep $20 off the $25 book, and bypass the middleman. So a lot of publishers do that. Like with Mark Latanzi and Squiggly Lines, and Andrea said, I think he's selling them off his personal website. He probably bought, $20,000 worth of books. They're sitting in the garage. Somebody orders one and he puts it in FedEx and sends it. And so he's making a lot more money than he would have if he sent it to the general public.
Yeah.
But I guess that's an all of the above approach.
Yeah. No, that's
all
cool.
of the above approach. So the other thing, and again, we've now just met, but I personally don't have any experience with sales tax and selling stuff. All of my businesses don't have to deal with that. But I was trying to think, and Andrea, she does the accounting, so she's like, Chip, don't do it. But the question is, could it run through one of my existing LLCs to save you the trouble of having to set it all up? But again, I just don't know enough about it. For example, I buy the books from you and then sell the books or something. But again, I just don't know anything about sales tax, because we've never had to do it. And Andrea might. I don't know. Did you deal with sales tax with PC Rehab?
A little bit, yeah.
Was it prohibitive, or was it like super complicated?
Yes.
It was, yeah.
That's the standard answer, yeah.
Yeah, that's a standard answer. So probably, maybe Mark Latanzi would be the best connection to make. That might be it, because he's an adventure racer. He's definitely a legend. Like, that dude should be in your book. He wrote the book on navigation for adventure racing.
Uh-huh.
And he's an entrepreneur. So he knows how to sell a book in the United States. So maybe that's a good connection to make.
Mark?
You ever heard of him?
No.
Mark
his surname?
Latanzi. Latanzi, Latanzi.
Okay.
He's like the Godfather over here in the United States.
Okay. Do you have a number or an email?
Yeah. Let me look real quick. Andrea might beat me to it, but I was just emailing him. He also puts out the power ranking. The guy that he rates all the racers individually and their teams in the United States, and came up with he's really, really smart. He's like a computer programmer. So he's just an all around amazing dude.
Okay.
Yeah, his website, I'm sure you could get in touch with him through that.
Yeah.
But his website is TANZ, navigation.org.
I've got that. Thank you.
And I just dropped his email in the chat.
Cool. Thank you very much.
He puts it out there. Like on the power rankings, he's like, hey, if there's any errors, just here's my email address, send me an email. So he won't mind you reaching out. Just say you worked with Heidi and Stefan, and Chip gave you his number. He knows us very well. And but he's like the Godfather. This dude has done every major adventure race all around the world, wrote the book, just super knowledgeable. He's truly legendary, and at least in the United States, he's truly legendary.
Cool. I will definitely do so. Right. So I just want to ask you one more thing. We spoke about the achievement section before, and we agreed that we're going to verbalize it around more than just the race. But would you mind just sending me like a list of the big races that you have done before?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would appreciate that, because it's all about building credibility for the people that don't know you. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
Absolutely.
They're
Oh, yeah,
also
totally.
listed on our website, but we'll send
Oh,
that
that's
to
right.
you.
Please,
Yeah, give
I
them our
would
website. It's
appreciate.
just got, I mean, that's the quickest way to at least get the stuff, and then we'll get you the detaily stuff later. But yeah, Andrea, you want to share the website? And
Yeah, I'm seeing how far back our past races go. Yeah, 2018 is the year we have that on there. So hold on. Let me put that in our chat here. Okay. That's our team website, which is sometimes up to date.
I understand. Thank you so much.
and
I went
I
through
just
all.
dropped. Sorry, I
Yeah.
just dropped the our YouTube page. If you want to see some of the videos and all of that stuff, again, tons of content. Like if you look at that, we must have hundreds of videos of just like every race we've ever done, training videos, all kinds of stuff. So I put that on there. Whatever you want to look through some of it.
Can I put the link in the book?
Absolutely, yeah. More the better. Like the whole idea that we're doing it is to help people feel comfortable adventure racing. The whole reason we did that Expedition Ecuador, it's like a documentary, but it was a series of videos, is we wanted to document it from beginning to end, so somebody that wants to do a big race can see frame by frame every thought that we did and why we do it and how we did it, because it's just intimidating just to sign up and figure it out yourself. So so that was the reason for that. And if you want, I'll drop the playlist. Let me find it real quick. There it is. Journey to the Watasinchi finish line.
I will say though, a lot of our videos get like what 20 views. Some of our bigger ones have 1,000, which is like, wow, we got 1,000 views. But we're not as famous as all that.
Well,
I guess it's not necessarily for the masses.
yeah, it's for.
I've got a somewhere in my video is like, hang on. Oh, there it is. I got it.
So I tease
Stressing me out.
we do our videos pretty much from my memory because it's so easy to forget what you've done.
Yeah.
Especially in a long race, it kind of runs together, and then you know, a few months later we'll watch one of our videos and like, oh yeah, I would have forgotten that if I didn't see the video. So it's also kind of a scrapbook for us.
No, that's true, and it's a good way to do that, to actually do that and achieve it, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Is there
Right.
there anything?
So I put the playlist in the chat. Oh, sorry.
Cool. Now, cool. Is there any aspect that you think that we should touch on in the book that we haven't discussed?
One thing just to consider would be the race directors. That many of them are not doing it for money. I mean, meaning they're not doing it for the profit motive. These are amazing people that really go out of their way to highlight, maybe it's their country or a country that they interest in. They're curating this amazing experience so that these international teams around the world can come experience a country and a culture. Heidi and Stefan, so far, we've not done all the races, but out of all the races we've done so far, they're best in the world at incorporating the culture of the community with the race. And so in Rodrigues, for example, we went out and played soccer. Like all of us had to bring soccer balls and to donate. And then we went out and played soccer with the kids. And then we we walked through the town with our flags with, I think we had Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts with us. Like each team had their Boy Scout and Girl Scout. We gave them a shirt. And then just this recent race, we had a donkey activity where we had to figure out how to get this donkey to run for 4 or 5K. And so they brought in the Queen of Lesotho, who never does public appearances, but she came out for this. So that's a big part of the racing, is not just the race. It's being exposed to a culture, and that culture being exposed to us. And so that part of racing, and just the thankless work that the race directors do, the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours to curate these amazing experiences so that we truly can try to be legendary. I hope you give them a little bit of time in the book.
I do.
The work that they do is just amazing, and we're super thankful that people are willing to do it. So I don't know, Andrea, anything on your side?
I really can't think of anything. I guess, again, just the accessibility of it, I hope, comes through, because I was just never an athletic person until I was an older adult. So just basically, it's never too late. Anyone can get started. Yeah, it is an amazing, epic experience, and it's very difficult. And it took years for us to get to it, but it's not unattainable. I think I already said that, though, so I'll stop talking. We both like to talk a lot about this,
No, that's
especially. So sorry.
Sorry.
Chip, tell me something. Is there a race director in your country that you think is good that should be in the book? I have a chapter on that, and I've got only like 3 people in there, and it's very narrow-minded, sort of circled. I would love to have a bit more broader view in there.
Yeah, right now, and Andrea, honestly, the people come to mind off the top of my head is Brent and Abby from Rootstock Racing. Brent they're both teachers, and Brent is like long form writing. Like, the guy is a really good writer, and he captures adventure racing very, very well. And they race internationally. Like, basically everybody knows him. So he's really good. And I think Jason and Chelsea from Bend Racing would be really good. They've raced all around the world. And they're articulate. They've done documentaries before on like Chelsea. Chelsea's an amazing, like one of the strongest females in the industry, at least in the United States. And so they've done documentaries and stuff, like basically kind of women power documentaries showing that women can outperform the men and all of that. But they're good in writing and in front of the camera and all that kind of stuff.
But are they good in?
Who else, Andrea?
Yeah, but are they putting up good races?
Yes. So Rootstock Racing is putting on their first ARWS demonstration race, and that's the one Chip was saying he's doing in Pennsylvania. So Rootstock's doing their first ARWS race, and they put on local races that are excellent quality, and they've been putting on races for years. And Bend Racing, they are also, their Expedition Oregon, I think, is in their 4th time being an ARWS race. And they are next year putting on a race in Patagonia. So they're trying to branch out even further. So they're the big names, I'd say, in the US, and they put on excellent races, and people have an idea of what to expect when you do one of their races. You know, like when you do Bend Racing, it's going to be the hardest race you've ever done, probably. And Rootstock Racing, it's going to be technical, but it's going to be perfect. They attend to every detail of the maps, and so they're really good examples, I think.
Yeah,
that'll be cool. Do you actually know them?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we know them very well. Yeah, we can totally make those connections. There also is no controversy around them. Like, I've never heard anybody say anything bad about their races, but just all the social media and all of that, I've never heard anything bad. There's no controversy. Like, there's a few race directors that they ruffle feathers and, encroach, and just there's drama. And with those two, the world knows them. they race ARWS stuff, which, you know, ARWS is right now the thing that does the big races around the world. So they're well known, and so they have their own following. So they, of course, the people might buy the book because that's Jason and Chelsea. And the cool thing is they're couples like us. So there's the male and the female, and Abby and Chelsea are extremely strong female racers. So hopefully that way your book has not just a bunch of white dudes, right? You want to be inclusive of genders and different nationalities and stuff. So yeah,
that'll
be amazing.
That'll be absolutely super. If you don't mind just dropping the contacts for me, I would really appreciate. And do you mind if I tell him, listen, I got it from you, I hear they're good, can they please participate?
What I'll probably do,
yes,
it may be better if what I probably should do is just send an email to both of you, say, hey, Jason, Chelsea, like, you know, talk to Leanne, like she's writing a book and you guys would be perfect or whatever. And that way it's like an introduction. You're not just cold calling. I can do the same thing with Mark Tanzi. Again, we're in touch with these people all the time. So we've done their races. It's like a big family.
That'll be super cool. I would really appreciate that.
Yeah. And like just for context, also both of them, Jason and Chelsea, as well as Brent and Abby with Rootstock, asked Andrea to do their commentary during their race. So they trust her with putting updates on the social media and following the race and talking about what's happening and all of that. So Andrea is their go-to commentator.
That's nice.
It's good.
It's been kind of fun. I write a little wordy, so I kind of write a little longer form, and we'll see what I come up with for this next race. But since I'm not racing, I'll be commentating, and it'll be tough just not getting to race. It's the first time we haven't raced together for a long race in a very long time. So anyway, yeah.
So Andrea, do we have did we ever consolidate all the writing that we did for Worlds in Spain? Did we have that? Because we put a lot of thought into what we were saying there, as opposed to like now we're interviewing, we're just kind of winging it.
Yeah.
If we could give Leanne that writing, that might, like she was talking about the wording and getting the wording just right. That, what we did for Spain, I thought was really high quality.
It's very wordy. I just put the link in the chat, but it's on our website also, on our blog, the things we wrote for Worlds. I'll probably end up adding the things I wrote for Oregon, but I just haven't done that yet. Maybe this will motivate me because I like to write. It's just, Leanne, probably, it sounds like you are the same. It takes a long time. You were saying it might take you a week or two to write 3 paragraphs. So for me, it's like really high pressure when they say, oh, I want you to commentate on this race, and you need to put something out in the window that they've told you to put it out.
Yeah,
that is so stressful.
No, I can imagine. And I must admit, I think just like you, I don't necessarily talk a lot in my private life, but I write lots of words. So it's when I want to be precise in putting across a difficult concept, that's when it takes long.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about writing, that one word can make all the difference.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. Yeah.
Sorry, I just trying to give you context. The reason we were writing for Worlds is there's adventure racing has I guess we'll call it a news outlet, but it's called Sleep Monsters.
Oh yeah.
It's Rob Howard and sometimes Adam Rose writes for him, but they do coverage of races. So they put out blogs and videos and kind of what's going on and who won this and who won that. And so Rob reached out asking us to provide thoughtful commentary for Worlds, not the commentary like who's in the lead and who's not in the lead and what's happening in the race, but get inside the mind of the racer. What are they thinking right now? How are they dealing with sleep or their feet or whatever? And so we picked topics and kept putting them out, and we got a lot of really good feedback on that. But it's type of because about sleep strategy and about how taking care of your body. We covered a lot of those type of topics very thoughtfully.
Okay, cool. Cool. I understand. Thank you so much for your time and energy. I really appreciate it. It feels as if I know you already. So
Well,
Welcome to
thank
the
you
team.
yeah, welcome to the team. Come do a race.
Into
Yeah.
a race, yeah.
I would love to. I would love to. Thank you so much. I really enjoy it.
Okay.
I promise I will put my best into giving a thoughtful presentation of what you gave me. And yeah, and thanks for the context as well. It makes a difference. It really does.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Just let us know if you need anything else. We are happy to help you. We would really like to see your book be successful.
Cool. Remember the photos. Don't
Oh,
forget
photos,
about the
yeah.
photos. Don't forget, please.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you so
Thanks.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend. Bye bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.